Hello, my true crime lovelies. How are you? I'm well. I hope you're well. I hope you are as lovely in life as you are in my mind. Excuse my voice. I'm going to do the best that I can, but we're going to go through Donna's unhinged emails to Wendy that Wendy just accidentally left on her phone, and it was discovered the day that Danny was shot when the police downloaded her phone. But first, I'm going to remember to do the intro. I'll see you on the other side. Alrighty, let's get right into it. First, I want to give credit for these emails. I got them off of the Stephen B. Epstein website. He is a true crime writer. He has written, looks like several books on this case. I will link him down below. Extreme Punishment he's written several books, one of them on this case, which it's called Extreme Punishment. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Donna. Info regarding his memorandum of law email. So from Donna Harvey, Friday, May 3rd, 2013 at 6:18 p.m. UTC. Dear Wendy, okay, just saw this email this morning. Obviously, his 23-page rant was insufficient, so he is trying to push the court to deny hearing your petition. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if to prevent any action your attorney must respond or not. Only you and she know that. However, Jibbers has made his divorce a full-time job to attempt to get what he's always gotten. His way. His job allows for lots of time for him to put into this project. And you know as well as I do that all the research he's done on different case law to prove his point is his research, not his attorneys. No matter who did it, he's quoting 13 cases to show why the court should basically throw out your petition. Is Kirsten answering this? Kirsten is her lawyer. Does it require an answer to make sure that this is not seen by the court as ignoring his rights? I don't know. You need to find out. The most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that that is your non-negotiable! Exclamation point. Lots of things are negotiable. That's the one thing that you cannot let her think, okay, well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. She needs to hear from you how serious you are about this and how it will benefit the children with a close-knit family support system, as well as... I cannot stay in this circle. Oh my goodness. As well as, hold on, I'm not going to torture myself. Let's switch this. I'm going to do, because otherwise I'm going to wiggle like crazy. Okay. As well as your significantly better paying job with hours much more flexible than your current job so that you can spend significantly more time with the children. And on that, I'm going to call BS because she's working at a university. So she has the whole summer off. Is the new job, the hours are more flexible than that. So when her kids are out of school, she's out of school, husband's out of school. That's awesome as a parent, which requires teaching hours, office hours, court appearances, meeting with med school people, and multiple trips away from home. Those trips need to be coordinated with a very angry man who will not be cooperative with you in this regard. Why did I just go British? I'm just going to read regular. I don't have Donna's voice down yet. For example, this past weekend, you had your annual conference for fill in the blank. At the same time, his regular NYU crap was taking place. He didn't say, I go to NYU every month and this is your annual meeting. I'll stay with the children and you go. Of course not. Danny thinks he's a very important person. And as always, he and his needs come first. So, without your parents as backup, one of you would have had to stay home with the children. And I believe he's going to NYU to be with his girlfriend. Your attorney needs to understand that your mother worked full-time in the family's dental practice until September, when she felt she was needed by you for the well-being of the children, to get them through a transitional time with people who love them and see them frequently and with whom they share great affection. It makes it sound like he doesn't love them, doesn't see them frequently, and they don't share great affection. I'm not sure where Donna is going with that. Also, she took it upon herself to, what did she say she did with the dental practice? Your mother worked full-time until September. So I guess she's working part-time there. I'm not sure what that means. Your father has made numerous trips by plane for weekends and changing the patient schedules around so that he can continue to spend significant time with the children. Both the disappearance of your mother from the position of office manager and the disappearance of your father from the practice for a significant amount of time has caused a decrease in the practice income and the loss of some patients who feel that it's either not being run the same way as when my mother was there full time, or that my father is unable to see patients with problems and has referred them to other offices during his absences. When I have to see a specialist, like the dentist, if they, because like the periodontist is only in X amount of days, there's usually a wait. It's not like, I've never had a dental emergency, but I've had scalings. And so I don't know what she's talking about. Additionally, this loss of income affects my family because my older brother, also a dentist, purchased the practice from my father in mid-July 2012. She's saying it as if it's important. My father's a dentist. My brother's a dentist. It's impacting their money. And impacting money, that's all she needed to get Charlie Adelson involved. He has a monthly payment to make to my father based on the sale of the practice. It isn't fair to him to have decreasing monthly income statements from the practice due to my parents spending so much time here in Tallahassee. I don't get that, because is the dad working, like, the whole financial arrangement just sounds confusing. He's making monthly payments to the dad, but isn't that the dad's salary? So wouldn't the salary go down if the dad is working less? Like, I don't understand how that would impact Charlie, or unless there's like a set monthly payment irrespective of when the dad works. But that would be foolish, because dad could be like, well, I'm retiring, you still owe me. Do you know what I'm saying? What is she talking about? My brother is unmarried and is a wonderful uncle to the children. If I am able to relocate to South Florida, they will have an incredibly warm and loving family as an integral part of their lives, not an occasional 2-day weekend trip to visit. Response, brief background.
But somebody who is not a lawyer, she's sure getting busy with this pen.
This is a no-fault divorce state, so his nonsense about no marital infidelity or abuse doesn't matter. However, a hot temper and verbal abuse is what you need to emphasize that you suffered under his reign. Narcissistic personality disorder causes major problems in a marriage. If that is not the pot calling the kettle black, your daughter has narcissistic personality disorder, allegedly. Jeff Lacoste said it, and he's a psychological, I don't want to say expert, but professional. Especially when one believes that because he attended Harvard undergrad and Harvard law, he's clearly better and smarter than anyone else, including you. I think he was, and I think that's what bothered Wendy. She had always been in the spotlight, and she was in Danny's shadow. Only an idiot like him would write that he should be the only one consulted for making decisions regarding the health, education, and religion of his children. Clearly, no one, including you, is as smart as he is in those regards. So, Danny kept kosher. He was an actively practicing Jew. So I'm going to agree with him on that, because they were threatening to give the kids hamburger and pizza. And kosher is obviously only one aspect of the religion. I am not very versed in it, but that is one of the more obvious things that they used to get at Danny, in the same way that they ordered kosher, that Donna specifically ordered kosher style food for the wedding and not actually kosher food, knowing that Danny had invited well, one, his rabbi who married them, and various other family members who also kept kosher. The money you moved into an account for you was exactly half to the penny of the joint account, which is marital assets. So you're not supposed to be moving it before the divorce is final. The furniture you took was the bare minimum: a bed for you to sleep on from the guest bedroom, one nightstand, and your dresser. You took 2 chairs that you bought 5 years ago at a neighborhood furniture store's closeout sale for $50 each. You have receipts to show all the new furniture you purchased to relocate to a safe place. Why was Tallahassee unsafe, Donna? You absolutely must emphasize that the only reason you left when he was out of town is because of the threat you'll leave without your children, without a penny, and just with the clothes on your back. Hearsay. It's super important for the judge to get the message that this guy is a big bully. I know she'll be able to read that when you submit copies of some of the emails he sent you. He feels if he's said something, that's it. Well, that's not it. He says you did this while he was on a short business trip. How about how many trips to conferences, etc. this man has taken? How much time away from his family? You have all those documented. Now you need to sit down and figure out how many days away that's been. How about adding to that all his 2-week trips to Israel, especially when you were at the end of your pregnancy? Sweet, caring, concerned husband. He talks about not knowing where the children were, incorrect address for the first 6 weeks. Let the court know that although he was never particularly interested in the children prior to the divorce, he was advised to keep a diary and make sure that he shows his interest now. Advised by whom, Donna? You arranged to meet him the very next day with Alan and Lynn Grossman, mutual friends, and the children at a local yogurt shop so that he could see the children were fine. Ain't that something you're going to dictate where a father can see the child when there's no governing document that says he can't have unbridled access to them? You were in fear of his temper, and so you did not want to reveal your address. However, 4 days after the separation, you arranged to bring the children to his house as his parents were going to be in town. And they were there for the Rosh Hashanah holiday with them. Oh my God, she left him right before Rosh Hashanah? The separation. You mean it was more, I can't remember what he described it as, like the Titanic or something. Or no, what was the one where they landed in Hawaii? You guys, someone smart will say, well, no, when the Japanese landed, he said it was like that. But 4 days before the holiday, that's cold. The following week, on one of his uninvited treks to your office, after he threatened you with federal kidnapping charges, which of course now he recants like he does anything he can't believe he actually did, you gave him your address. That was 1 week after separation, not 6 weeks. He says you took non-marital assets. What? Question mark, question mark. Greater than question mark. He says the children, I think she missed a stroke because the greater than sign is right next to the question mark. He says the children were 3 and 1 at the time this took place. Oldest son was 3 and youngest son was 23 months. 1 month before his second birthday. He talks about you. Oh, so she's being persnickety. She's saying he doesn't even know how old his kids are. Both being well-paid professors. He talks about you both being well-paid professors with stable jobs. Yours is not a tenure-track job. And with the economy as it is, there is no guarantee it will be there in the future. So he was tenured. I believe he was one of the youngest tenured professors at FSU, but she's saying like Wendy is not on track to be tenured, so it's not that same security. But honestly, no job is guaranteed. They can let you go at any time. I mean, they could say it's a tenure position, but if the school shuts down, do they owe you? Not that FSU is going to shut down, but I'm saying for the purpose of this discussion. His trash talking to various faculty members about your mental instability has also poisoned your work environment, making it extremely difficult for you to continue to function there in the same way as you previously did. Your job also pays you half of what his job pays. So, on your own, it is not feasible to continue to live even in the home you are currently renting. You have borrowed a considerable amount of money from your parents and must repay it for furniture, legal fees, moving expenses, etc. My parents have paid all grocery bills up to this point, for which I will also have to reimburse them. I do not want to dip into the money from our marital account, as that will have to go towards supporting my children and for their future. So that's the story Wendy told her parents. So keep in mind, she's still getting her salary. She's not paying for anything, right? She's got this new job that was supposed to be higher paying than what she had in Tallahassee. They're covering everything because she keeps saying, I don't want to touch that money. I don't want to touch that money. Well, girl, what about the money you got coming in? And her mom is keeping track of it. Now, remember in those calls, what was it? Someone said, I think it was Donna, they have piles of money. There's Charlie's pile, Charlie and Donna's pile. Where's Wendy's pile? Why is she borrowing? I don't think those parents are ever going to see that money. According to Gibbers, and they probably could use it now for these legal fees. According to Gibbers, the relocation must show that the current arrangement for the children is deficient from the perspective of the children, and that relocation would advance their interests. This is something that we have reviewed numerous times in other papers, Wendy. Review all that we've put together in this regard rather than have me repeat it. Check your notes, girl. Obviously, the number one reason is significantly more income for you and a job that will also give you significantly more time with the children. For children at this tender age, nothing is more important than spending quality time with them, which your current job does not permit. Again, she's not working in the summertime. The financial freedom which will accompany this job will allow you to provide educational and outside activities and lessons for the boys that would not be affordable under your current salary. So, under her current salary, they still have a dad. It's not like he's not contributing. So, I feel like she's conflating things, right? Like she's saying, if you were single and the father wasn't alive. It's almost like they were plotting in 2013 what they were going to do without that salary. If he's dead, the boys get his SSI. She gets the house, which she did, and she sold it as the guardian of the boys. It went to them, but she sold it. Who knows where that money is now? Hopefully somebody's tracking it. But she made out like a bandit. Anyway, the ability for our children to spend quality time with my parents and my mother, a retired elementary school teacher. Can you guys imagine? She was a teacher. I hope all the kids got therapy. In my parents' home, each child currently has and would continue to have their own rooms with appropriate beds, furniture, books, and toys. Don't they have that now, or were they sharing a room at that point? I mean, if they're that young, I don't know that it really matters. Mr. Markel has become a religious zealot over the last few years since the birth of our first son, taking him to synagogue with him as an infant so that he can absorb the music and the prayers. Most people who are religious take their children young. They even have Sunday school. I don't know what the equivalent is there, but yeah, he had done the same with our second son. He has done the same with our second son. This is also to show the congregation what an attentive father he is. The fact remains that the children are watched by teenage children of other congregants in a sort of playroom while the services are going on. That's what I just said. Mr. Markel picks one of them up to come back out at certain parts of the service to hear particular hymns and then returns them to the care of babysitters. This is done rather than allowing them to remain home with me. This sounds crazy. When I protested, he insisted. He always gets his way. There are no Hebrew day schools in Tallahassee. Mr. Markel seems intent upon religious training, but feels that only he could provide the best religious training for our children. He is indoctrinating them, not teaching them. If he truly cared about a religious school for them, then clearly one of the 37 Hebrew day schools in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County would be a better choice for our boys. My home in Broward County is close to many of these schools and midway between Dade and Palm Beach schools. So when Donna is telling Wendy to write my home, I believe she means the Adelson home, because why else would we have been referring to them having their own room with appropriate beds, furniture, books, and toys? Do you know? And their grandma who used to be a teacher. I hope your attorney is researching cases where relocation was granted and what the circumstances were. Also, all cases are different, and because one case didn't allow it doesn't mean that should prevent another case from receiving that benefit. Danny has said on numerous occasions, one I have on my phone as a saved message, what wonderful grandparents and in-laws we've been. He knows that the children are very close to us and we'd always be there to take care of them. What's going to happen in June when he wants to go to 3 different conferences? Don't let him go. If you do, you're enabling and facilitating your stay in Tallahassee. You'll be showing him that anytime he has a meeting he wants to go to, that's fine. You'll watch the boys. Not you'll watch the boys, ma'am. Those are your sons. You're not watching them. You're mothering them. That's the whole point of relocation for you and the children. He can continue to attend all the meetings he wants to go to and then arrange for frequent and extended visitations with the boys. Liar. Who thinks that they're going to allow him to have frequent and extended visitations? Like, I don't believe it. Maybe some of the money he spends on his trips can be used to visit the boys. Now you in his pockets. Another bribe to get him to allow relocation should be the offer of plane tickets, since he does have family that would allow him to use their homes to stay in. But obviously, that's a last-ditch effort if all else fails. He's trying to show the court that your request is frivolous and that you should have to pay for yours and his court costs in this plea. Yeah, because she ran away with the kids. She absolutely should have to pay for that while he's filing for relocation. She should have done it properly and gone to the court first. Your lawyer has to let the court know that it's anything but frivolous. And isn't he also supposed to pay some of your regular legal fees? This bastard has not paid 1 cent toward your bridge gap alimony. Why? Why only 2 months of a child support payment over an 8-month time frame? Loving, caring father that he is. She is way too much in this woman's business. How does she know when and if he paid it? And we all know if Wendy's lips are moving, she's lying. So if she got it from Wendy, who knows if it's the truth? Do you need info on grocery bills? I have a good many of them and can show the court that it's been costing what it's been costing just for that with no support from gibbers. Also, find out from Kristen if she wants you to pay us back now or wait. What's best for your case? Look at Donna like, when am I getting my money back, girl? I'm too angry to write anymore. I'm going to shower, wash my hair, and get ready for you and the boys to come home. Dad said he'd look up any papers tonight or over the weekend that you may need. He even has the info on what Danny had in his IRA and 401k prior to marriage. Love you, Mom. How does he have that info? Did Danny share it with him? Did he get in, pretend to hold him in confidence and got that information? That's creepy. But what did she have before? Because he alleged in one of the filings that she stole money and then was hiding it. Okay, let's get to the second one. This is June 25th, 2013, to Wendy Adelson from Donna Harvey. Hi, honey. Okay, just like it says on your necklace, never, never, never give up. It's time for action. It's time to take control of your life and not let gibbers think he's just won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee, 8 hours away from the only family you have, and lose out on what will be a job that will afford you and your children advantages that you will never otherwise be able to enjoy. Let's show this fucker what will make him absolutely miserable. You know his weak points: money, religion, control. You have 5 weeks before your court date. I know you have a job that keeps you very busy. However, the rest of your life, and consequently Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's, will be affected by how well you can perform/act before July 31st. How prophetic. The rest of all of their lives has been impacted by this inability to agree. You can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. You have a very strong family behind you. Just remember that. Dad and I have done everything we could to try to help you for the last 10 months. Now it's time to help yourself. We believe that you will be able to make this happen if you can put these actions before everything else this month. And you know what? You've only got the kids a limited number of days to do this. We believe that Jibbers will be saying, "Stop this," and you'll be telling him, "You wanted me in Tallahassee. My children are going to fit in this Bible Belt. They're going to church every time I have them. I'm having them privately tutored at home to get them caught up for the Sunday school classes that I've registered them in for the fall. The class time coincides with the service I'll be attending. Tell him that you've got a new outlook on life and a new hope, and you'd like to go to heaven." And she is quoting heaven and hope. "Perhaps he would like to join you and the boys at church." Plan of action. Number 1, take photos of boys dressed nicely, standing at the front door or by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so everyone will see it. Perhaps a line under the photo with "New beginnings in Tallahassee" might be nice. Within minutes, Jibber should either see this or will be getting calls from his friends/acquaintances about this. How happy do you think he will be? Number 2, make arrangements to get the boys caught up with a private tutor, teenage Catholic church member, who will come to the house to teach the young men about Jesus. If you don't have time to arrange for this to happen, I will happily do it for you. She or he will serve as a good babysitter assistant for you while you're preparing dinner, etc. Let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church, and you'll certainly invite him to the event. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now with the boys, and you'd like him to be a part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and a baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks. We can send out Evites to Jibbers, his parents, sister, and anyone else you want to invite. I'm looking into summer camp programs for the boys. We will pay for it, even if the boys end up going only the few days that they're in Tallahassee on the days you have them prior to the hearing. Number 5, register them for toddler classes at church. I've looked into this, and even if they don't go, we can show Jibbers that they are enrolled for the fall semester. Is that a thing? Toddler classes? And you can tell anyone, and you cannot tell anyone this is an act. Somehow it will get back to Jibbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation points. Take control from him. Get to him psychologically. He's going to want you to stop this. Wendy, you've been through a very difficult year. You had to make a huge decision. You did that. It was the right decision. Now you have one final opportunity to make him angry. We want him ticked off so he realizes that he could lose control over his kids. We plan to make a financial offer to him to allow this relocation. You need to work this plan, and we'll help you through it so that it may affect how much we will offer him. Maybe he'd be willing to let you relocate if he knew his children would attend a private Hebrew academy like Donna in Boca. Or perhaps he'd like them to invite him to a Christmas party at their other Sunday school. You have a little over 3 weeks till mediation. Let's get this going now. I know you would never want to think that you didn't do absolutely everything you could to try to come down to your family. Between living down here and having a job that will give your children the lifestyle they deserve, your life now and for sure in the future will be significantly better. Gary told us that he is not going to hire anyone until after your court hearing and after we try to make a financial offer to Jibbers. So I'm guessing Gary is a friend. It's like Nepo baby adjacent, you know? I mean, obviously there's an opening because he says he's going to hold it for her, but ma'am, enmeshed. They're so enmeshed. We don't want Danny to continue his religious influence over these children any more than what he's already done. If he keeps this up and they won't want to eat in your non-kosher home, and if they see you don't want to attend their shul functions, you will be the outsider. As they get older and more involved under Jibber's religious influence, they will be able to request which parent they want to live with. Don't allow Jibbers to have this power and control over them. Then in reality, he's going to have the same control over you. Dad and I have changed our lives this year to support and assist you and the boys in every possible way. Charlie has accepted the loss in the office business income for us to do this because he loves you and wants only the best possible future for you. It's time for you to show us that you can put on the performance of your life for the next few weeks. Please call us after you read this. We're waiting to talk to you. If you have any other ideas to make a last chance for relocation happen, please let us know. We send this letter with our love and only the best intentions, Mom and Dad. Yeah, whenever your intentions are the best, whenever they're good intentions, you always have to state that, right? Okay. All right, we're going to move on. This is from Donna and Harvey. Thursday, June 27th, 2013. Now, tonight, we're going to watch Jeff Lacasse's interrogation. All these times will make better sense. But at this point, Charlie has already, or at least according to Wendy, started looking into a hitman. It's not until he meets Catherine McBanawa, which is later in October, that he really gets to enact his plan. So I'm guessing he asked a bunch of people who said no. I'm thinking, I have no evidence of this, but just from watching the other trials, he ran into Katie. She was at one of the offices that he goes in and out of. He thought she was cute. We know he's into young looking Filipinas, Asian women. And he probably looked her up on Facebook, saw her baby's daddy, Sigfredo, looked pretty tough because the night that they went out on Halloween, he asked her, Katie, do you know someone who can harm someone? That's a really specific question to ask a relative stranger. Do you know? Anyway, back to this. Dear Wendy, since neither one of us feels up to talking, let me share with you what we're all feeling as far as your response. Now, Wendy deleted her response from her phone because remember, these were pulled from the extraction. So we only have Donna's side. That's why I say it was intentional. Not intentional. Anyway, couldn't help it. Shout out to Sarah Boone. When I wrote, also when she says, since neither of us feels like talking, it sounds like they already started to have a conversation or they tried to have a conversation. Sounds like she sent some passive aggressive email. We know from Jeff Lacoste that Wendy is not good with confrontation, which leads to her lying a lot so that she can avoid confrontations. When I wrote to you this morning, we felt that you had reasonable thoughts as to what the judge might do or say or think regarding the charade we had hoped you would participate in. However, the more we think about that, we begin to realize that you and we have no idea what this judge will do or say or think. Duh, you don't have an idea of what anyone will do or say or think. Who would have thought after paying an attorney $600 per hour for 10 months, she would take an hour and a half of testimony, not even bother calling Jibbers to the stand, and decide that family support for very young children evidently means nothing, and a job that pays 10 times what your unsecured, untenured, and dependent on state budget cuts job pays in Tallahassee will be just fine for your children. Well, to be fair, if you're in Tallahassee, a Tallahassee wage is a fair wage, right? I think she's got a master's degree. She's obviously well educated. You're not going to make Miami money in Tallahassee. Just like I'm not going to make New York money in Fresno. That's just the way it is. Does she care that after expenses, you'll save next to nothing at the end of the year? What about her pile of cash, Donna? Does she care that very little, if anything, will be put away for the children for their current and future education? Well, when you flee to Vietnam, you'll make sure they have all their things set up, Donna. Does she care that extracurricular activities, sports, trips, eating out in restaurants will always be a financial challenge for you to provide for the boys? Oh no, they won't be able to eat out in restaurants. Their whole lives will be ruined. Let's kill their father. That'll get them right. Clearly, she did not take into consideration the future earning potential and benefit for your children. She didn't care that there's no backup support system when one of your preschoolers is sick. All she cared, like every other parent, though, I don't understand that. Like every other parent, like my mom was working when I had Cheyenne. She wasn't a backup daycare option. You know what I mean? Well, I was only there the first year, but you guys know. And then I moved to LA all by myself. Like you figure it out. You figure out what's best for your kids. She didn't care when the preschoolers are sick. All she cared about was if the father hasn't been pulling out their toenails. You should give up any financial betterment for you and your children and raise them in a place that you agree to go to because Jibbers only had FSU as a job offer. Of course, as a graduate of FSU Law School and a native of Tallahassee, she sees nothing wrong with living there. Obviously, as a native of South Florida, you know better. Our point is, it's obvious that you and Kristen haven't figured out the judge so far. You were both shocked at the rapid decision based on nothing that was presented. So, how do you think at this point you can figure out what the judge will say regarding your decision to introduce Christianity into the boys' lives? People go to prison and change their religion all the time. People go through difficult times and find Jesus. Jesus was Jewish. He had positive teachings. He gives people hope. And best of all, you get to go to heaven in the end. Sounds good to me. Obviously, it will sound good to Judge Hobbs. She goes to church. There were multiple donations from her church pastors and ministers on her financial contributions website. She's a Southern Black lady. How do you know it won't be music to her ears to hear this?
Donna girl, you out of line. You just straight up out of line.
Some possible options on Judge Hobbs' decision regarding Jewish holidays with the boys. As far as losing the children on the Jewish holidays, there are a couple of alternatives to this. First of all, it may happen, but unlikely. He is entitled to half the holidays and alternating those holidays each year with you. You may be interested in the teachings of Jesus. Cause Jibbers had certainly ruined Judaism for you in the extreme way he practices it. I don't think Wendy is a practicing Jew, to be fair, and Jeff Lacoste refers to them as atheist Jews. Like they were born Jewish, but they're not really practicing. They do, like, I guess it's the same in Christianity when people do like Christmas, Easter, like she did the holidays and the traditions, like the children coming of age, but she's not a zealous practicing Jew. However, if the judge questions how much of the Jewish holidays you can have, you explain that your parents and brother are Jewish and they will be coming to Tallahassee to spend those holidays, or the half that you are entitled to, or perhaps even the 60% that you are entitled to with the boys. Secondly, so what if by some crazy stance the judge says, okay, Jibbers can have all the Jewish holidays. Then if our bribe doesn't work, okay, Jibbers can have all the Jewish holidays. Then, if our bribe doesn't work, you tell him during the year that you'll take the kids out of Sunday school at church and cancel their upcoming baptism if he shares those dates with you. If not, keep them there. Not an ultimatum. That's horrible. Not an ultimatum with children. They're clearly pawns in Donna's game. Third, since there's a separation of church and state, she'll just go by whatever schedule you were given and tell you to work out any holiday arrangements between yourselves.
That is not how that works, Donna.
Who declares which are legitimate holidays and which aren't? Shemini Azeret. I don't know who that is. Obviously, the court isn't out to help you. It's clear since Judge Hobbs' last ruling that she could care less about anything you had to say on your behalf. You need to help yourself. You know, Wendy, most of the wars that have been fought for the last couple of thousands of years have been over religion. Charlie brought up a good point when he said that Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. They had a job to get done, and they did what they needed to do to accomplishment. You have a job to get done and a very short time frame to accomplishment. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. There'll be time and okay. If you dressed your kids up in Hitler youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance and would show Gibbers that he's not in control. If your children are baptized, it doesn't make them Christian. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. The boys aren't really pirates because they dress up like Jake the pirate. It's an act. You got into this mess with Gibbers by being so compliant and non-confrontational with him. If you just keep paying your attorney her $600 per hour and don't fight for what you want, you're no better off than if you stayed married to him. Sure, you got rid of being unhappy in a marriage, so you don't have to live under the same roof, but he'll still be in control of everything, including what he wanted, sole control of the boys' religious lives. Why let him? Why not stand up to this fucker? Why not fight? We're not talking about a lifetime of this. You have the boys a very limited number of days before the mediation takes place. This is all part of an act. Please rethink this. We're all willing to help you accomplish this. And that's all it is, Wendy. An act of defiance that will put a scare into this jackass. It will infuriate him. It won't infuriate a judge that you found Jesus. She can't comment on your religious views. You need to see the big picture. You need to look into the future, what a life without your only family nearby, teaching in Tallahassee with Danny always in the picture will give you.
It's not a pretty picture.
We want to see you help yourself. Not everything one has to do in life is comfortable or easy. Well, ma'am, that wasn't what you were saying on the stand when you were telling Judge Everett about all your pains. Oh, but you didn't have a crystal ball. Sometimes it's ridiculously hard, but Gibbers has tried to aggravate and screw you since day one of this divorce. Now, mind you, she left divorce papers on the bed and moved all her stuff to from Tallahassee to Miami while he was gone on a trip. Really? Who's screwing who? His vicious emails, his defiance with Dr. Pam's directions on asking him not to come to the school every day when he doesn't have the boys. That, I remember on the stand, his family law attorney was telling him, like, cool your jets on that one. But the attorney said it was like in a sincere way. It wasn't a control. He wanted to see his children. His not allowing you to pick the children up 1 hour earlier to drive to Atlanta. His bad-mouthing you to the faculty at the school you will be working at. Everything he's done is done with malicious intent. Why can't you do this for the few days that you have the boys prior to the mediation? You know him. You know which buttons to push. He certainly knows how to push your buttons. Take something from him. Right now, he's got everything just the way he wants. We need to take something from him in order for him to negotiate it back. This is your chit. Maybe chip? No, maybe chit. Okay, whatever. The extremism that Gibbers is already teaching the boys is nothing more than brainwashing. Religion is brainwashing. It's control of the masses. It affects who your friends are, what activities you do, how you eat, how you dress, how you pray, everything. There is no doubt you will have two little Orthodox young men on your hands with the only religious influence over them being Gibbers. He's already got them thinking that people who eat shrimp are bad. If you don't know, if you're kosher, you don't eat shrimp, you don't eat lobster. Lobster are considered the roach of the sea. So all of those are not kosher, literally. There are kosher hot dogs. I worked at Sam's Club and we sold kosher hot dogs. It was like the heavenly something. So I don't know what she's going on about there. Like, she's probably buying them non-kosher hot dogs. Or maybe he just didn't want them. I mean, it is a bunch of nitrates. Maybe not in the code. Anyway, let's get back to this. Wait. Your oldest son's not even 4 years old. Wait till he's 8. You're not teaching them anything different. You don't teach them that on Saturdays they can go to soccer or any regular organized sports activity or even swim lessons. You let them play in the park or in the house. From what Jeff said, because she was heavy in the bottle, so you're not getting in the pool with the little ones when you are drunk, right? Because I take Sugar Bear to swim lessons since he was 6 months, and you have to get in with them, I think, until they're like 2 or 3. Yeah, so she's not going to swim lessons. You let them play in the park or in the house. Gibbers has an organized plan that he's been doing pretty much since they were born. Shull, shull, shull. Shull every Saturday morning that he has them. Shull for every Sunday that he has them. Shull for every holiday. Shull parties. Shull, shull, shull. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I don't know. Let me look at this, what that means. No offense to shul. A high holiday. Okay, shul. Glad I looked it up so I don't offend anybody. Shul, shul, shul. That will be their life. We don't want you to be the outsider who doesn't join in what the rest of the family is doing. Wendy, this is all about negotiating. After consulting with 2 attorneys who are both excellent negotiators, one of whom we will most likely hire for the financial offer, we are getting the same advice. You must take something from him that he wants. When you intelligently negotiate in mediation, you pretend you want the house, even if you don't. You pretend you want the car, even if you don't. You pretend you want the ring, even if you don't care. And I believe they're talking about the Holocaust diamond ring that Danny gave her that is still MIA. He was asking for it back. I think that's so awful. It was like one of his parents who was a Holocaust survivor. I don't remember which one, so I don't want to misquote it. But that ring, never to be seen again by the Markels. You pretend you want the kids in Catholic school, even if you don't. It's just the business of clever negotiation. It's not what you or we are familiar with, but people in business do it all the time. Both attorneys have said that this is how you get what you want. If you can't take anything from him, then what we do is just the financial offer. It's just not as good. And then look at it this way. What's the downside? Worst case scenario is the judge does give him the Jewish holidays. Then after a short period of time, you offer him taking the kids out of Catholic school, Sunday school, if he shares the holidays, or have a stipulation that holidays need to be reviewed yearly. Oh God, what a drag. You have a smart lawyer. She knows that all kinds of stipulations and temporary arrangements can be made at a divorce. Wendy, you don't manipulate people. What? You're a sweet, kind, caring person. Gibbers is a manipulator. You just need to play a role. What you're doing is jockeying for position. In the end, if you do this and it doesn't get the results we're all hoping for, then you can't blame yourself. In other words, if you don't do this, not only should you be blaming yourself, but we're all going to blame you too. Love, Mom. You can feel good that you did everything you could. I'm not saying that we're not going to continue with hiring an attorney to negotiate and make a financial offer. I don't think you realize the type of offer we're considering. We're planning on you, Charlie, and Dad and I going as high as equal parts in a $1 million offer. That's $333,000 from each of us. Now, you know as well as I do, you, Charlie, Dad, and I is 4 people, right? So she's the 3 of us. Dad and Donna are 1, then Charlie, then Wendy. Okay, anyway, obviously, the more chits on our side, the better our chances are that we won't have to go that high. You have to show us that you're doing your part in this too. We're a team. We can't do this without your help. One of the possibilities in lieu of that much money, obviously we start much lower, is offering not just taking them out of church, but negotiating a settlement which could possibly offer both boys private education at the Donna Klein Hebrew Day School in Boca. It may include monthly airline tickets to South Florida for as long as he lives in Tallahassee. He may stop and think that if he can get a job in a city he'd prefer to live in, it would be an easy flight to see his children. He loves living in South Florida. Teaching at his current schedule and with a big chunk of money, he could live down here and for the 26 weeks per year that he teaches and fly 2 days a week to Tally. Wait, what? Why would he be flying to Tally if he's in South Florida? He would have frequent and liberal visitation. Maybe she meant fly. I don't know what she meant. Okay. But whatever it is, if he is flying to Tally, they're offering to pay for the airline ticket from Tally to Miami. He needs to understand that the negotiating lawyer will work with him. With his school teaching schedule, he could see his children here a significant amount of time. His child support would be much less also. The attorney who will be doing the negotiating will also lay it on the line for him what the various payment offers would be worth to him in 15 to 18 years when he may want to retire. The amount is huge. This payoff can put him at that point without any additional income of his own in the $4 million range. Certainly nothing he'd ever save in 10 lifetimes. And you see how her mind works? Like money, anyone can be bought, right? That's what she's saying. How does she know he has a desire to have $4 million at retirement versus having a relationship with his children? A relationship with your children is priceless. $4 million can fluctuate with the markets. If you try this, you really will not be any worse off than if you do nothing. So what's preventing you from just trying? I don't know how much of the big picture you're seeing, honey. I don't know if you realize that not only what you can provide for your boy's life, but for your own life all depends on this change. Aside from living in a far better city with family, so that's subjective that it's better, a personal history there, and you'll also have greater opportunity to meet people for your future. I'm sure there are many lovely women who are teachers, divorced with 2 children. You can be a highly successful, highly compensated attorney who is independent and not in need of someone to marry you to help support your 2 children. You can have someone cleaning your home, a nanny to help with your children, a lifestyle in which you and your boys can travel. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really turn your life around and make a positive difference in the lives of your children. Now, keep in mind, the Markels are not broke, right? They travel. They're divorced. They were divorced at the time of the killing, but they have homes in Florida. I think the dad has a home in California. So they would still have a chance to travel. And the Adelsons, like Donna and Harvey, are not broke either. So I don't know why we're pretending that only if Wendy moved to Tallahassee that they're able to travel. Your expenses with the boys now are minimal. Wait until you see how expensive everything is in the future for them. We don't want you, and I wouldn't imagine you'll want to, live paycheck to paycheck. Teenagers eat more than the yogurt these boys eat now. Everyone has a price. Now is the time to start. You said this divorce is not about winning and losing, that it's not a competition. You've already lost relocation according to the legal system. Well, it is about winning and losing. We're trying to get a win. You deserve it. You deserve so much more than a life without family teaching in Tallahassee. Life is tough. If you don't stand up and take a chance, you don't stand a chance. Please, Wendy, do your part and stand up to him. Make an effort to do this so that our group offer will stand a better chance at being accepted. Don't let his temporary move to Tallahassee ruin your life. We all want the same thing, a better emotional and financial life for you and for the boys, all the way around. You know, Grandma was one tough and very smart lady. I think about her all the time. And I think about what advice this very intelligent woman, a wonderful reader of people who loved you more than words could ever express, would say to you. She'd tell you to fight with every bone in your body, fight for yourself, your boys, and for the best possible life you can have. You know that's true. Fight for yourself, Wendy. We'll be here to help you. Just don't tell us that what you need to do now is move forward with a sense of peace. That's giving up. I don't believe that's really what you want to do after all we've been through together and when you're literally a few weeks from this being over. Written with hope and love, Mom and Dad. That is some mind game, Donna. Wow. Okay. This is our last one. It's dated February 18th, 2014. Remember, the first attempt on Danny's life was made in June. At this point, Charlie has already met Katie McBanois, and on the first night, he figured out she was down. Although she minimized it, she knew what he was saying. Subject: info for your lawyer when it comes to depo on Danny. Honey, okay, your attorney must deposition Elvis to see if any of the retirement accounts that Elvis has ever had a check written from them during the course of your marriage, if any of them were funded through any joint assets, your mutual Schwab account, or in any way passed through joint financial accounts. Did you guys see that TD Ameritrade was acquired by Schwab? I tried to log in and it was like, no, you hop over to this website. Anyway, then you are entitled to a portion of those accounts, even if nothing was ever done improperly on these accounts. And he has some very large retirement accounts. Let's aggravate him the way he's trying to aggravate you and make him do the research and show statements from every month, from the date of your marriage to the date of the filing of the divorce. So he's in the motion that was pending before he was murdered. In fact, like, he was headed home to give a final look-see of the documents that his lawyer had sent him, which the lawyer testified to in Charlie's trial. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, he was alleging that she was stealing, that she had stolen money from him, and it was going to be he was demanding that she be disbarred. So Jeff mentions it. He was aware of it. She was aware of it, even though on the stand she was like, oh, it wasn't that much of a bother. And Georgia was like, well, you forwarded it to 15 people. But yeah, so that was serious, and to the point where her lawyer had to recuse herself because she was like, basically, she was being implicated in the theft, right? And so she might be a witness. Which Dan Rashbaum should have done. He knew he might be a witness when he was like, oh, you might make it. Okay, anyway. So that's why she's going back. But typically, your retirement account, what you had before you were married, remains yours, and then you split it up. You usually need a forensic accountant to go through that. You need to see whatever he deposited into those accounts, where the money came from. It's very possible some of it came from your joint Schwab account, and that he's up Schitt's Creek. Why shouldn't he have to do this? It's what I mentioned to Kristen in court yesterday, and she nodded her head. She nodded her head like, okay, crazy. Now she needs to do something about it. It just seems ridiculous. Also, just because her parents are paying for the attorney has no allegiance to Donna and Harvey, right? Wendy is the client, irrespective of where the money is coming from. That is true for adult or minor children and their parents. It just seems ridiculous for him to be able to depo you, but for you and Kristen not to give him the same crap he's pulling on you. It's time to give it to him. Also, what can your attorney do to be proactive, to give him some grief? It seems like you're always on the defensive, but I don't see her doing anything offensive. Oh, Donna, you're doing everything offensive for everybody involved. I was really surprised that you didn't speak with her prior to meeting her in court. Can't you meet with her and work out a plan of attack or some sort of strategizing so you know what you're up against and what else he can do? When is there an end to the nonsensical litigation and waste of the court's time and your financial obligation to your attorney? Ding, ding, ding. That's the most important one, which is why she saved it for last. I think it's really important to get the parenting coordinator to either testify or be brought to deposition, perhaps by your attorney, so we can get her to request that Elvis be court-ordered for psychological testing. And if he's this off, perhaps he should not be permitted to take the children out of the country. What happened with the dean? Any help, or do you need to proceed to the provost? Something has to be done with this asshole. Call us if you feel up to it tonight. If you're too tired, then call us in the morning after you leave the boys at school, if you can. Love you, Mom and Dad. Yikes, guys. She's unhinged. Donna is unhinged and she thinks she's sane. But I love that we don't know what Wendy's response was, because then, when she's on the stand, she says, well, I didn't respond. Do you see my response? But clearly she did, because Donna references, we thought you were going to do X, Y, and Z that she didn't do. But she's unhinged. So they're going to read those. Somebody's going to read those in court. I don't know how they enter that, though. If Donna, maybe one of the detectives will read it to enter it as evidence, because I don't think Wendy's going to read it. And I don't know how they would get Donna to read it. Presumably she takes a stand, but who knows? Who knows? All right. I'm still tracking. The motion to suppress was denied. I'm waiting on the motion for bond to see what he says there. I feel like he's writing more detailed citations. Neither the PDFs aren't up for any of that now. I just read the title. So I'm waiting on that. I'll update you on that. And then hopefully I'll see you tonight and we'll watch Jeffrey Lacasse's last interview, the one that he did a year after the murder, and he came in with copious notes and clarity of mind. He nailed it. I mean, he put the case together for them, basically. He nailed it. Yeah, so I'll see you then. I'm excited that we're going to go over that together. And until then, take care of yourself, lovelies. Toodles.